William Voters and my colleague Charlie Hensley and I, we want to welcome you to this Roane County Candidates Forum. As far as the ground rules are concerned, the candidates without opposition will be brought down, and we'll ask them to stand up and you'll be introduced to them. The candidates with opposition are invited to make 2 minutes opening statements, and we have a timer here with my kitchen stopwatch, and when there's 30 seconds left, she'll hold up this sign so the candidates can see it, and then at the end of 2 minutes, she'll hold up this sign, and hopefully they'll pay attention to that. In the event that a candidate is not here and can't speak for themselves, a substitute will be allowed to make a 2-minute opening statement, but not be allowed to participate in questions or make a closing statement. After the questions have been asked and answered, the candidates will be given 1.5 minutes, 90 seconds, to make a closing statement. We ask you not to specifically ask a particular candidate a question on your card, just say which candidate it is, because our moderator will ask all the candidates the same question. Also, the candidates have all signed a statement saying that they agree to not take photographs and video and put them up on the web anywhere. So we would ask all the candidates if they take some sort of photograph for their own personal use, they don't share it anyplace. And then I'm going to introduce my colleague, Charlie Hensley, who will introduce our moderator.
Thank you, Dan, and thank everyone for coming out. It's my pleasure to introduce our moderator tonight, although he actually needs no introduction. He's an auctioneer extraordinaire, Mr. Bear Stevenson, and he is probably one of the most generous people I know with his time and his skills. He's the manager and owner of Stevenson Realty and Auctioneering in Clinton, which has been in business for 35 years. And many of you know that, but he told me something else today that's of great interest. His parents moved here in 1944 with Stone & Webster, who had the contract to put all the roofs on Y-12, which is, you think about that, that's quite a job. And Bear was born in 1948, and he lived on East Irving Avenue. So he is a native Oak Ridger until his parents had the opportunity to move to a 40-acre farm, so I can understand that. So with that, I give you Bear Stevenson, our moderator.
Thank you, Charlie, and thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this forum. Before I go any further, though, I just want to say thank you, and I want to congratulate all you candidates. I was once a candidate myself. In 1994, I ran for the state senate against Senator Randy McNally, who is now Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally. At that time, 5th Senatorial District was all of Campbell County, all of Anderson County, and 9 precincts in Knox County. But the sacrifices that you're making to have an opportunity to serve not only the residents of all of Roane County, but the residents of the 4th District here in Roane County, which is Oak Hills and Alder Springs in that area. But I just want to say thank you for placing yourself as a candidate, because it takes a sacrifice. And as we hear from these candidates tonight, those of you who are the electorate, who are just citizens coming to better be informed as to how you want to cast your vote, I want to say thank you for being here as well. So we're all going to be able to learn a lot about these candidates as we move forward and go through this forum tonight. At this time, I would like to recognize those candidates with no opposition. As I call your name, just come down here to the front. The candidates with no opposition, and we have 5 of them, We have actually we have 6. Ann Golston, running for circuit court clerk. Running for sheriff, Jack Stockton. Running for county attorney, Greg Lefew. Running for school board, District 3 and 4. You get to vote for 2, you got 2 running. Larry Sam Cox and Mike Taylor. Are any of our candidates here? And the Oak Ridge Board of Education, Benjamin Stevens. Are any, I suppose since they're running without opposition, and they don't need to be here tonight. They don't vote for themselves for early voting. I think early voting starts tomorrow, does it not?
Yes, sir.
So if they go vote for themselves tomorrow, they elected, so they didn't feel the need to be here. So, candidates with opposition next. For county executive, we have David Morgan and Ron Woody. And I understand Ron Woody is not here, but he has a representative, I think, that is here representing him. If David Morgan and Ron Woody's representative, if you would make your way to the front and yes, let's just go ahead and, you want this one right here or with that microphone?
What the sound guy said was if you stand back here.
Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to read his statement. Roane would like to thank the Oak Ridge League of Women Voters for hosting this election forum and apologizes for unable to attend. The duties of the county executive are many, one of which is a number of board memberships. Currently tonight, he is fulfilling one of those duties with the East Tennessee Human Resource Agency and East Tennessee Development District, where he currently serves not only as a board member, but also an officer. Ron appreciates the opportunity to give an opening statement and humbly requests your support and vote in the upcoming election. Ron's qualifications for the county executive positions are based on both his work experience and education. Ron became county executive September 2010 after serving 8 years as a county government consultant with the University of Tennessee. Prior to working with UT, Ron was the school business manager for Roane County School System and the director of accounts and budgets for Roane County. While at UT, Ron assisted and advised county governments in areas of finance, budgeting, risk management, legal issues, and daily operations of county government. Ron taught classes statewide on risk management, county budgeting, capital budgeting, and debt management. Further, Ron authored and/or co-authored 3 publications on county finances. The primary duties of the county executive is to be the chief executive officer for the county and oversees many and manages all county funds. There are about 16 departments under his supervision. Ron's received a BS in business for Tennessee Tech and an additional class with accounting and the University of Tennessee. His certificates are certified government financial manager and certified public accountant. Ron has been married 25 years to Becky Neal of Kingston. Thank you.
The candidates who are not here and have someone representing them, they will not be involved in the question and answer portion of our forum tonight. And at this time, David Morgan, who's running for county executive, you have 2 minutes to make an opening statement, David.
We come up there or
Just sit there and use that mic.
use the microphone? All right. Hello, I first want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this great event with the Field Auditorium, and thank you all in the audience for coming. I am David Morgan, and I do want your vote for county executive. Just a couple of quick things about me. I am a lifelong resident of Roane County, lived here most of my life other than when I've had to go out of town and work. I am a Christian, raised by Christian parents here in Roane County, Tennessee. I stand for the flag, and I stand for our veterans. every chance I get. And I will continue supporting our veterans and our flag as long as I'm on this earth. Just a little bit about my background besides that. I do have a Bachelor of Science degree in Industrial Engineering from the University of Tennessee. I also earned a second degree, a master's degree in Organizational Management while I was working in Greenville, Tennessee. I attended Tusculum College and earned that and was at the top of my class when I graduated. A little bit about my work experience, just briefly, since I'm under a 2-minute time frame. I have 24 years of management experience. And in that 24 years, I've learned that you never go over your budget, and I never have. So don't let anybody out there fool you into thinking that it is okay to go over your budget. When you get a letter from the state comptroller's office saying you've got an audit finding because you went over your budget, that is a problem. Again, don't let anybody tell you it's not. I know for a fact that is an issue. Just a couple other things I'd like to say quickly. I know we've only got a few short minutes here to talk, but I see 2 big problems in Roane County right now. I see a lot of you look like you're retired in the audience. You're probably living on a fixed income. You continue to see your tax rate rise. Well, that's a problem because with the job situation here in Roane County, no industry in the last 8 or 9 years, where are all these kids going to go when they graduate high school and college? They're not going to work in Roane County. They're going to work somewhere else. And who does that leave to pay the tax bill? You folks with the gray hair out there, that's who. And I see that as a problem because my parents are part of those gray hairs out there. And they're tired of paying high taxes and seeing no further benefits. And I want to give Roane County something to try to lower that tax rate if I can by bringing industry in. Thank you.
Now, we have some questions that have been. I think David Morgan, all these questions want to be addressed to him.
I should have mentioned when I was talking that we'd like you to hold your applause until this set of candidates have spoken, and then we'll give them all applause. Please don't applaud for individual candidates when they make their individual statements. Thanks.
Our first question from the audience to you, David Morgan, is are you for or against the proposed $67 million mega school, and how would you fund it?
Well, I can say right off the bat, I am not for a consolidated school. I am against a school consolidation in Roane County at this time. And one reason I'm saying that is because, as I hinted to a minute ago, we just can't afford it. Our tax rate already is one of the highest in the state. It's at $2.58. And if the school system merger goes in, it's going to be well over $3. We're going to be past Morgan County, way past Morgan County, and other counties that really doesn't have a whole lot. I mean, Roane County's got a lot to offer, and our tax rate just shouldn't be that high. But getting back to the school, I'm against it. I think that education should be more between a teacher and a student relationship instead of more about a brick building. When I went to Kingston High School back in the day, I taught at Kingston instead of Roane County High. I didn't pay any attention to what the brick walls looked like in the classrooms. As long as we had heat and air conditioning and had books and a chalkboard and good teachers and students that wanted to take their books home and learn, that's what mattered to me. And one other thing that I've noticed that's been cut out of our education program is the vocational studies. Who do you call when you have a plumbing issue? You call a plumber. Who do you call when you need an electrician? You call an electrician. Who do you call when your car jams up on the interstate? You call a mechanic. Well, somebody's got to go to trade school and learn how to be a mechanic and a plumber and an electrician. And I think those jobs are important too. So we need to go back and take a step back and make sure that we implement those programs for the vocational students back into our school system. And that's what I'd rather do. Spend more money on paying your teachers. Get some better teachers in Roane County. That's what I'm for. Thank you.
Mr. Morgan, second question. If you get elected, how would you lower the tax rate and still keep the ambulance service, sheriff's department, the infrastructure, the animal shelter, parks, and other community programs open and running to serve and protect the Roane County people?
Well, it's a catch-22 type of thing. You first have to expand the tax base, and how do you do that? You do that by having more people come in and build homes on the lake, because once that home is built and entered on the tax roll, they're paying taxes, and that does expand the tax base a little at a time. We also need industry. We've had no new industry come to Roane County in 8 or 9 years that I can recall. The last ones were VW and Hackney, and those were in around, well, 8 or 9 years ago at least. So we desperately need industry in Roane County. There's been more industry go under in Roane County in the last few years than there have been spring up, obviously. And once you get more industry in this county, that tax base will expand. That's how you can start lowering that tax rate very easily right there, by getting a few big, huge industries in here that are high-paying jobs for our citizens, so they don't have to drive through all these dad-blasted potholes on the way to Knoxville, and they don't have to get speeding tickets by your county mountie left and right. I've done it. I speak from experience. But wouldn't it be much easier if folks could just drive to our local industrial park there in Rockwood and Harriman, or the one up by the Loudoun County line, or even one that I want to get open and work with Cumberland County and Morgan County leaders on up there at the top of the mountain there at Airport Road. That's a 10-minute drive from Harriman Rockwood exit. That's a lot of jobs, folks, for people in Roane County instead of having to drive all the way to Knoxville. That's 2 hours time a day you save by not having to drive to Knoxville. But that's what I'm for, and that's how I want to lower that tax rate, besides just doing things that are wise, like don't leave your engines running for 30 minutes in a county vehicle. Don't do things like that. Thank you.
Third question, Mr. Morgan. Regarding solar energy, we got a good start with the TVA money. But what exactly is happening with those funds? And what, if anything, might you do differently?
Well, I wasn't in office, obviously, when any of those funds were dispersed. I cannot give you a good answer as to what happened. I know some money was spent on the Princess Theater. I know there was a new school built at Dilla Springs Elementary, I believe is the name of it. Seems like that cost $6.5 million or so. I may be wrong with some of my figures. Seems like there was something done at Kingston, the band room possibly. I can probably recall about 10 or 15, maybe 18 million of that money being spent way before I was in office, of course. And I just can't get a good accounting of what happened to that 43.3 million other than that. But as far as you had mentioned the solar farm, I'm all for saving the earth and saving this environment. I've recycled my whole life, and I'm big time into that. So I know we've got a little small farm over there at Kingston, right down from my house, not too far at present. And supposedly it's actually, bringing in solar energy, saving the city of Kingston some money, because what they do, they sell that energy back to REU and TVA at a higher rate than what they're actually paying for it. So it's a very good program, and I applaud anyone that would want to do that personally or professionally. Where I worked at in Georgia before here just a few years ago, back from 2008 through 2011, we put a solar farm on top of our warehouse roof, and we're getting, I can't remember the kilowatt hours we were getting from that, but it was a great, great program, and we sold it back to Georgia Power. And I see the stop sign over there getting ready to be waved, so I'll hush at this time. But I'm all for saving the earth and recycling and saving our environment. Thank you.
Next question. What do you think is the most important issue facing the next Roane County executive?
Well, this may not be the top most important. There's a couple of them, I'd say. First off, we've got to get the cities working together. Right now, you've got Rockwood City, Kingston City, Harriman, all fighting against each other. Commissioners are fighting against each other. City council members fighting against the other city councilors from the other cities, trying to get this school on their part of the county, I guess, so they'll get the tax benefits from it. And I understand all that. But look at these other counties like Loudoun and Cumberland County. They're beating us to death right now on the industry and tax rate. We're at $2.58 right now. The same $100,000 property, I got to get this little note out, show me, but the same $100,000 property that you pay $645 for in Roane County will only cost you $380 yearly taxes in Cumberland County, $452 in Loudoun County. That's a big difference, folks. $645 a year versus $380 a year in Cumberland County, because their tax rate is so low, because they're eating their lunch on industry right now. And it all goes back to industry. Industry cures a lot of woes, and we desperately need to get industry in this town. And I think I got straight off and forgot part of the question, but I hope I answered it to everyone's satisfaction. But I'm big on getting industry in here, and we've got to get that tax rate down so that citizens can afford to live here and not be taxed to death.
Next question. If elected, what would be your first action or initiative after taking office if you are elected?
Well, at some point, I would obviously have to interview the staff, make sure that some of the current staff members would want to stay there and continue to work. And for some that chose either not to work, or maybe I would choose for them not to work there anymore if they just didn't meet my qualifications and my standards. I would have to hire some staff members. I guess that would typically be the first thing on the very first day. I would also want to meet with my new county commission, because they're also up for election at this point. Want to shake every one of their hands and, let bygones be bygones. We need to work together, as I said a minute ago, because if we're not, we're going to continue losing out to Loudoun and Cumberland County on attracting industry and lowering tax rate and things like that. And, this county just needs to come together and work together, and that's what I want to do. I've already been out talking to some of the current commissioners and some of the what I think is going to be commissioners to be, and that's one thing that I've heard from them, that the county just doesn't truly work together. You might have 3 Rockwood commissioners working against this and 3 Harriman commissioners working against that, and we don't need that. We all need to be on the same side, and we need to do what's best for Roane County, Tennessee, and that's what I'm for.
We were talking a minute ago about creating jobs for Roane County. What are your plans, if elected, for economic development and job creation in Roane County, to be as specific as you can?
Well, one thing, I'd first have to meet with the industrial board several times, find out where they're at now, what prospects they have, if they do have any prospects. I'm not sure if they do or don't at this point. I think they do. I would also meet with our current Roane Alliance members, find out what they're doing to attract industry to our area. I've talked with one of them there already, and he said they do have a couple of things on the block, and I would support them wholeheartedly in that effort. I would support anyone who is actively trying to get industry in Roane County. Now, I'll take that one step further. Our present county executive has gone on record and said that he does not think it's his job as chief financial officer of this county to attract industry and to lure industry to Roane County. Well, that may be his thinking, but it's not my thinking. I'm an industry guy. I can speak their lingo. And my thinking is, besides being the chief financial officer of this county, I want to be the chief salesman for this county. I want to market these beautiful lakes we have. I want to market Oak Ridge National Lab and the proximity to Roane County. I want to market UT, Roane State. I want to market our available workforce. Those kind of things we definitely need to get out there and market. And I would personally go meet with companies out of town, out of state, that are looking to relocate or to build new factories in somewhere, and I would try my best to lure them to Roane County and show them what we can offer them. And hopefully by that time we'll start chipping away at that tax rate if I am elected.
Another question is, what do you see as the most pressing needs for infrastructure or capital projects in Roane County?
Well, obviously there's the folks that are wanting the school merger, and I've already stated I'm against that, but if the people wanted it at some point down the road, that would definitely be some type of infrastructure we would have to deal with. The other is the jail, the Roane County Jail. A lot of folks don't know, but we took a huge loan out 10 years ago or so, 8, 9 years ago, I can't remember, to build jail number 1 there in Roane County, where the old dollar store is now, and used to be the old white store where I worked as a bag boy years ago. But we have still not paid the first dime of principal on that loan. We're paying all interest only, from what I understand. And that's bad. I mean, who would go out there and take out a house loan on your property and pay all interest and no principal for 10 years? That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm no CPA. I'm just a common, ordinary man with a master's degree in management, but that doesn't make sense to me. And now they're wanting to say jail number 2 needs to be built. Well, I'd try to find a way to make jail not such a pleasant place to come if it were me. I'd put those folks out there on some kind of work detail, get them up early in the morning, make them come to work like most everybody else does. And I've also been told there's 150 or so inmates there from the state. We don't have to house those inmates. We're getting paid to house those inmates. But how much are we going to pay in return to expand that jail and build jail number 2? If you do a cost-benefit analysis, it might show that we're making this much off of those prisoners, but it's going to cost this much for a new jail. So that's the type of thing I would heavily be involved in, trying to do that cost-benefit analysis and see if it's worth it or not, or get rid of the state prisoners and things like that.
Okay, another couple.
Another question is, somebody has written, we ask our candidates, what is your attitude about the proposed Oak Ridge Airport?
To be honest, I've not heard a whole lot about that. I know we've got a small airport in Rockwood currently, and I've not been to that airport in a long, long time. I think it's still being used. I know there's a teeny-weeny small one over in the Midway, south of the river area as well. And I do recall hearing something about the Oak Ridge Airport just a couple of years ago. I think it would be a blessing to us, especially for potential industries that want to come in this area. You know, a lot of those big-wig presidents of the companies, they like to be able to fly their private jet in there on one of those little airports like that and come and go as they please and keep a hangar there just for them. And I think it'd be a good thing. That might be some kind of benefit also to the Oak Ridge citizens. I know I talked to a few of you here before the forum started, and you were expressing your displeasure, I guess, about your tax rate and how you're getting very little services from Roane County and the taxes you pay, and I agree with you there. You know, your fire protection here in City of Oak Ridge, your schools, your kids go to City of Oak Ridge. I mean, there's so much that you're getting from the City of Oak Ridge, and you're paying Roane County tax rate. And, you know, maybe that's something we could put into a capital fund and start building toward and talking about and invest in, and maybe get an airport here to benefit not just Oak Ridge citizens, but all of us here in Roane County. And I would definitely be for that airport.
Another question someone has asked, would you stand in opposition to privatizing public education via charter schools, school vouchers, and so on? Would you stand in opposition to privatizing school education via charter schools, school vouchers, and so on?
You're not talking about homeschooling, are you?
No.
Okay, no, I would not stand in the way of that.
Would you hold charter schools accountable to the same standards as regular public schools?
I think they should all be held to the same standards, yes, if that did happen.
This is another question that someone has asked. Will you support efforts to ensure police departments in the county do not have white supremacists on the force? Just yes or no?
I'm not aware that we have anyone like that, but I would hope that we didn't. But I'm an equal opportunist, and I try to give everyone a chance, and I treat everybody the same way. So I would hope that we don't have anybody like that on our county police force or city police forces. But I don't know if there's anything legally the county executive could do about that anyway, if there was somebody like that. But my personal feeling is I hope that everybody is treated the same by the police in Roane County and the cities.
This is their, from the conclusion, the county executive's questions. And at this time, David Morgan, you have a minute and a half for a closing statement.
Sure. As I stated before, I do have a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering. I have a master's degree in management. I'm fully adept at managing the county executive office. I've had experience in financing, marketing, accounting. I've supervised accountants and payroll departments, just like our current county executive does during my career. Again, we've got two big problems to tackle, in my opinion: that rising tax rate and the lack of industry in Roane County. And in 8 years, there's been no industry come to Roane County, and I'm going to do everything in my power to attract industry here to Roane County. Some other things I'd like to do, obviously, is work with the veterans. There's an empty old Harriman Hospital sitting there right now, and it was good enough for my dad and other patients to be in just a few years ago. So all of a sudden, is it such a rat hole now? I guess and I'm not calling it a rat hole, that's what I've been told, but why is it all of a sudden not, I guess, suited for people to be housed in there? I'd like to try to turn that into maybe a veterans hospital for our veterans like my dad and others, so they don't have to travel to Memphis and Johnson City, or at least a veterans treatment center. But I think we need to do something to help our veterans in Roane County, because they're taxpayers too, and we're not doing a whole lot for them right now. And that's something we could do, because there's an awful lot of veterans out there in Roane County that's owed and pay taxes, and we need to give them a little something. I think that'd be something really good. Make that old Harriman Hospital into a veterans hospital. And in closing, I know the lady waved the 30-second thing at me. I just want to say I'm David Morgan, and I sincerely and humbly ask for your vote as your next county executive. And I am the low-tax pro-industry candidate. Thank you.
next two candidates are running for trustee in Roane County. I'd like to call up front Nick Forrester. These are in alphabetical order. Nick Forrester and Chris Mason. Nick Forrester and Chris Mason, two candidates for Roane County trustee, and at this time, Nick Forrester, you have 2 minutes for an opening statement.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. I am Nick Forrester. I'm running for Roane County trustee. I'm a lifelong resident of Kingston, outside of my years in college, and a year on an internship. I attend church at the Grove in Kingston. I have a 5-year-old son who is the light of my life. I have a soon-to-be wife that's sitting back there. That's brownie points right there. I've ran a political consulting company for 10 years. I've worked with 37 trustees across the Southeast. I'm ready to go in that office day one. Ms. Wilma Eblin has been, possibly the best trustee we've had in 50 years. She's outstanding. We're losing a lot in Roane County when we lose her. Her staff is fantastic. I will keep her staff, and she has stated that she will help me if I were to get into office. So, looking forward to that, and I'll talk a little bit more about my experience as the questions come. Thank you.
Next, Chris Mason.
First of all, thank you all for having us out. I love going to these forums. It's a good chance to meet a lot of people. I see a lot of people that I've seen before, either knocking on doors or when we had the candidate meet and greet up here. My name is Chris Mason, and 10 days after the election, I'll soon be married 18 years, have 2 daughters, one 13 and one 10. Born and raised in Roane County. Went away for just a little while to go to school and came back and started a business. Graduated from Roane State Community College, and then I went up to Tennessee Tech University and graduated from there. Then moved back to Roane County in the year 2000 and started a business, a little small business that grew into 9 retail stores. So I have not only public experience, but I also have a lot of private sector experience. While I was in the phone business, I was elected to the city council in Harriman, and then followed that by 2 terms as the mayor of the city of Harriman. And then followed that, I've been at Oliver Springs as the city manager for the last 2 years. I'm going to answer a question that a lot of people don't know, and that I've been asked so many times: what does a trustee do? And it's a great question. As Nick will tell you, it's probably one of the more important jobs in the county. Nearly $100 million will funnel through that office through sales tax and through property tax, and then it'll be dispersed to the right places. And if there's any money left over, idle funds will be invested to the best of the ability of the trustee. So the trustee has a tremendous amount of responsibility, and it's pretty much the same thing that I'm doing now as the city manager, and it's also the same thing that I did while I was the mayor of Harriman. So once again, thank you all for letting us come out and meet you, and I hope you all will consider me for a vote, and I will appreciate your vote. Thank you.
First question. Question from the audience. I am undecided. Why should I vote for you? Nick Forrester, in alphabetical order, you go first. I am undecided. Why should I vote for you?
That's a great question. I mean, that's the question we answer every time we go out and see somebody. I have the right experience to safeguard our financial well-being in Roane County. I've worked with 37 trustees across the Southeast. I know that job. I can go in day one and be ready. I was on the county commission, so I know the county budget.
I was on there from 2010 to 2014. So, you know, as you look, we tend to elect a lot of folks. It's popularity. It's just what it is. If you dig down and look at the experience, I'm the most experienced candidate for this particular job, and I'm ready to start day one. So I would ask for your vote on those merits.
Same question, Chris Mason. Both of you will be answering the same question.
It is a good question, and like I said, especially in the city manager's job in Oliver Springs, and while I was mayor in Harriman, the office of trustee brings in, sends out property tax notices. They accept property tax money. That's the same thing that we do right now in Oliver Springs. It's the same thing that we did in Harriman. We invest idle funds with the water department. I'm over the water and sewer department as well in Oliver Springs, and we also invest idle funds there, which is the same thing that the trustee's office will do. I do the same thing on a municipal level that the trustee's office does on a county level. So I am the most qualified candidate.
Next question. This time we're going to reverse who goes first. Chris Mason, you will start. We're going not in alphabetical order, we're going the other way around. But this question is a multifaceted question. How does the county invest funds? What is the current process of selecting where our money is invested? And what, if anything, would you do differently that's being done in Roane County now?
Well, there's not a lot of, the idle funds are invested generally on a short-term basis. So you can't get, there aren't a lot of options, and a lot of the time, there are local options that the trustee will go with, which you try to get the best interest rate, and a lot of times they go with a local bank or a local option. I've already spoken to some firms that have a broader area that you can take a look at. May not be a bank right here. It may be a bank, well, it may be a bank here, but also has branches in Memphis that may have better rates that you can get. And so we need to take advantage of the best rate that we can get. But just like at the water department, when we invest idle funds right now in Oliver Springs, it's generally a small interest rate, and it's a small CD, that your certificate of deposit that you're able to put your money in. But you got to get the most that you can get, and that's what I would try to do. Look at all of our options.
Same question, Nick Forrester.
So there are quite a few options actually that you can invest your money in as trustee. The short-term options are very good, because if we get in a situation like we were a few years back where the tax funds were not coming in like they should, we had enough idle funds and sitting in the bank that we could cash out and fund payroll until the taxes came in. So the local government pool is where I will explore the most, because you have to run conservatively in the trustee's office, because you have to have enough funds in case something were to happen that you needed those idle funds to go out and make payroll for the county, all the county employees. So the local government pool, which is held by some of the banks, right now in Roane County we use United Community and U.S. Bank. I will continue to use United Community because they do a great job. A lot of banks won't take on county funds because there's so much money transacting in and out. So there are quite a few options, but I will limit it down to more conservative options that make a good interest rate, but keep our money safe for you all, the taxpayers.
Another question. This one, Nick Forrester, you will answer first. What do you think is the most important issue facing the next Roane County trustee?
The most important issue facing the next Roane County trustee would be the changes in banking regulations and technology. So as we move into the future, more computers, et cetera, we need some technology upgrades in the office. They're expensive. That software, those computers, they're expensive. You can't do it all at once. So getting that technology in is a priority of mine if I get elected into office. The banking regulations, it is starting to get very difficult to find banks that will take county money, as I said a minute ago, because of all the transactions that you're moving in and out. You would think a bank would want 10 million in idle funds at a time, but because of the interchanges, they don't. So there's new regulations coming out in banking for the trustee's office that will be of importance to look at and take into consideration as we move the funds.
Same question, Chris Mason.
I don't disagree much. The implementation of technology would probably be the biggest issue, and one of the first things that I'll look at, making that office as convenient as possible for you all. If you come in there, I want you to be able to use a credit card, and that's something that we'll need to implement there at the window. I would also like to look at the budget closely and find out if we can afford having a satellite office every now and then, maybe once out at one precinct that's a long way away from the courthouse, so that people in the real rural areas will have the same advantages of the people closer to the courthouse in making their payments. But the implementation of making that as convenient and efficient as I can, and that's where, again, when I start researching where to invest the idle funds, I'm going to get the best rate that I can, and I'll yield enough money that I can afford to do those things that we want to do.
Next question. Chris Mason, you will answer this one first. Do you have specific ideas to improve the efficiency in the trustee's office?
Yeah, and again, the efficiency is where I want to really want to improve it, and I kind of answered that just a minute ago. But if it's possible, I want to be able to locate a satellite office. It will cost a little bit of money, but I want to be able to find the money so that I don't strain the budget. But that's really what I want to do. Make it convenient. You've seen the lines, they go out the door during the heavy tax time, so I want to alleviate that and make the tax payment process as easy as I can. I know a lot of the Oak Ridge residents feel neglected up here by Roane County, and rightly so. I don't blame you, but this office is one office that you will deal with, and I want to have an open door, and I want to make it as painless as possible.
Same question, Nick Forrester.
So it sounds like we say a lot of the same things. There are strict limitations what you can do in the trustee's office. There are. So you have to look to that experience. I've already contacted DOE and worked with Mr. Watson at the City of Oak Ridge. During tax season, I will have an office open at the guard shack up here at least 2 days a month during tax time. We'll get a secure line and be able to work up there. So as we talk about efficiency, like Chris just said, making it easier for you all to come pay your taxes, because the lines are long, the traffic's even worse at the courthouse. So I will get that done for the citizens of Oak Ridge. The office, it runs pretty efficiently now. They do a lot of work with little employees. So they work pretty efficiently now. I will attempt to have more banks, if it's possible, for other areas of Roane County that doesn't necessarily concern the Oak Ridge citizens as much if you're paying your taxes up here. But we will have new ways for you to pay your taxes if you choose not to mail it in. Credit cards you can do online, but you have to pay a fee. So we want to see you.
Nick, you answer first this question. If elected, do you intend to make changes in staffing?
No.
Chris Mason, same question.
No, I won't, and I've spoken with Wilma, and I've asked her that if I am elected, if she would care to stay on so that we have a smooth transition, and she's agreed to, so that's a good thing. But no, the staffing, like I said the other day, if you don't know what the trustee's office does, that's a good thing. It's because they're doing their job, and they have been doing that, and so the staffing is great, just like they are. I hope they want to stay if I'm elected.
You got 90 seconds for closing statement.
Okay, each one of you have a minute and a half, 90 seconds for closing statements. And since Nick, you went first for opening statements, Chris Mason, you go first with your 90-second closing statement.
Okay, well, I'll close with, again, saying thank you for this opportunity. My door right now is open. Please call me, email me. I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm at work every day in Oliver Springs. I'll be knocking on doors if you have any questions for me further after tonight. I have the experience. I've done it for the last 12 years. And then prior to that, I was in the private sector, which makes a good mixture. Anytime you can get private sector experience in with government, it's always a good thing. So if you give me a chance, my approval rating when I ran for city council only got better when I ran for mayor, and then I ran for re-election as mayor. And so if I get elected in this office, I'll look at every day like it's a day campaigning, and I'm going to try to impress you all. I'm going to try to run the office as best I can, and I hope to keep getting elected for this for a long time. Thank you.
So, again, you heard a lot of the same things. So you need to make your decision on who you think is more experienced. I would love to talk to each and every one of you outside after this. You can come get me, drag me outside. That'd be great. I have knocked on 3,000 doors in Roane County. A lot of them have been in Oak Ridge. I want to hit you all, but I can't. I can't. So I want you to contact me with anything you've got. My cell phone number is on my website, and I am the most experienced candidate for this job. I've worked around 37 trustees that did it 37 different ways so that I can mesh the best way to do it for the citizens of Roane County. And I will work every day to do that. And this is not a stepping stone job for me. This is where I want to be. Thank you very much, and I humbly ask for your vote.
Nick Forrester and Chris Mason, thank all of you. I've been standing here listening to the same responses that all of you have, and I personally can say I think the Roane County Trustee's office is going to be in good hands regardless of whichever one of these two gentlemen gets elected.
As I mentioned in the beginning, as you'll see on the ground rules for the forum, on the questions and answers, questions may not be directed at a specific candidate. If you're not hearing your question asked, it's because the screeners are taking out questions when you've directed them to one of the candidates. So the questions need to be issue-oriented, not to a specific candidate.
Our next two candidates want to be the next Roane County County Clerk. In alphabetical order again, I'd like to call up here to the table Chase Clem and Beth Gage Johnson. You've been sitting back there, you know what's going on now. Each one of you have 2 minutes for an opening statement before any questions are given in alphabetical order. Chase Clem, you go first.
First, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for again having us. Another great turnout. We had a great turnout Tuesday at the Rockwell 2000 event, and another great turnout today for the League of Women Voters. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for attending. My name is Chase Clem. I'm a lifelong resident of Roane County. I was raised on two principles: treating each other as I would want to be treated, and working hard every day for what you want in life. And if elected clerk, I will implement those two values in the clerk's office by, one, treating you, the taxpayer, with the utmost respect every time you come to see us. We're a fee office, so you probably don't get out of bed and look forward to coming and giving us money. So while you're there, we want to bend over backwards to treat you with the most exceptional service, the best service that we can offer. I also plan to show up for work every day and work hard for your tax dollars. I graduated from Bryan College with a business degree, and soon after went to work for the county executive. For 2 years, I learned accounting and purchasing procedures, oversaw department budgets, developed relationships with department heads, and oversaw the sale of surplus property as well as back tax property. In 2015, I accepted the position of Parks and Rec Director for the City of Rockwood, where I've currently been for 3.5 years. I oversee a $400,000 budget, which is comparable to the clerk's $600,000 budget. I manage anywhere from 20 full, part-time, and seasonal employees, depending on what season we might be in, what events we might have going on. While working full-time for the City of Rockwood, I earned a Master's in Business Administration from Tusculum College. I would ask for your vote. Thank you.
Ms. Johnson, 2 minutes.
Okay, I am not a public speaker, so bear with me. I am Beth Gates Johnson. I've worked in the clerk's office for 35 years. I've been hearing a lot of comments, well, why has she waited so long? That's because we've had 2 clerks the time I've had worked. Miss Dorothy Marshall was there for 5 or 6 terms, and then she asked me, she said, do you want to run when I retire? And I said, yes, I do, but there's an employee here that's been here longer than me. I think if she wants a shot at it, she should get it. So Barbara Anthony decided to run. Barbara's been in there for 12 years, and now she's retiring. So now it's my shot at it. I know that job. I can do that job. And I'm a public person. I like to see you come in. I've been there long enough that I recognize most people's faces. I have some older folks who won't go to anybody else but me because I know them. I don't know what else to tell you, but I do want that job. I'm not a politician. I'm just a worker. I'm a hard worker. The years I've worked there, I raised my children by myself. I helped my family take care of an invalid brother and tried to run my household and have a family life, and I never missed a day of work. I stayed up at night with my brother and still made it to work every day. So I ask for your consideration, and I appreciate you listening. Thank you.
I think this undecided voter that's sitting out here somewhere that wrote this question and brought it in, I think they're also undecided about the 2 of you. I just like this question. And since you went first with your opening statement, Clem, Ms. Johnson, I'm going to ask you to respond to this question first. I asked it to our trustee candidates. This person back here is undecided. Why should I vote for you?
Well, I'm going to ask for your vote because if you come in there and you've got some paperwork and you're not sure you're going to be able to get a title, I can get you that title. I've done it long enough that I know the people at the state and I know what paperwork you need. And if it's a very busy day and the girls are lined up at the front, I can jump in and help you there too, because I know how to do those titles, those tags, most anything you need. I've done it before. I really, like I said, I don't know what more to tell you other than I've done the job. I want the job. I'll do it well for you. And we will have smiles on our face when we're doing it. Thank you.
I believe that I am the most qualified candidate, and I'll say this. I applaud my opponent on her service to Roane County and her time in that office. but in the most respectful way possible. I believe that you need the right experience to lead an office. You need leadership experience. You need managing experience. You need organization experience. I manage a comparable budget to the clerk's office. I manage a wide variety of people that come from all different backgrounds and home lives, and you have to be able to relate to each one of those in a certain way while getting the point across that you are here to serve the people. I run a very service-minded, service-driven group of people at the Parks and Recreation Department, and I have the educational background as well to lead that office for years and years to come. Thank you.
Next question, and Mr. Clem, you will answer this one first. What do you think is the most important issue facing the next Roane County clerk?
I believe that the most important issue facing the next clerk is instilling an atmosphere of customer service and efficiency. I believe that all of our employees should be cross-trained in the duties of the clerk's office, as well as well-versed in Microsoft Office and able to put together minutes and packets for our commissioners, and also being able to take care of a customer and do whatever they need done and not have to pass them off to someone or ask them to come back when someone is there that can complete the job for them. So I believe the most important thing is make sure everybody can do what is needed to take care of the taxpayer.
Ms. Johnson, you answer this one first. No, other way around. Clem, you answered, Chase Clem, you answered this one first. What changes would you make to improve service and convenience to the taxpayers of Roane County and the county clerk's office? What changes would you make to improve service and convenience to the taxpayers? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm an auctioneer, I get in a hurry. You go ahead. Ms. Johnson, I'm sorry. The question is, what is the most important issue facing the next Roane County clerk?
Okay, the clerk's position is always the public. Getting you in and out in a timely manner. And I would have to say, since I came up to the Oak Hills area, I can see why you go to Anderson County to get your tags, but we're hoping to maybe find a place that would allow us to put a substation up this way. And the substations that we have, those communities provide that service, that internet, at no charge to the county. So if we could find a place like that, we will definitely be working on a substation in your area.
Okay, next question. And since you finished last, you gonna get to answer this one first. I won't make that mistake again. Ms. Johnson, do you have specific ideas to improve the efficiency in the county clerk's office?
Yes, I do. Our girls are very well trained, but they have been trained at different times and by different personnel in the office. I would like to start having meetings to where we all get on the same page, get trained the same, kind of powwow together and everybody know the same rules and do the same rules. And my staff is really well trained. It's just we all have different degrees of when we were trained. And I'd like to get that more across the board and get them cross-trained. We have talked about that before. I hate to have to send somebody away from a window. We'd have to do that sometimes, but it's very seldom. Thank you.
Same question to you, Judge.
Aside from cross-training employees, I believe one of the things that could be done to improve that office is expand the online capabilities. If you go to tnclerk.gov, you can select your county, and if you selected Jefferson County, you would see a list of online services this long. And if you select Roane County, you see an offering of online services about like this. So, like I said, if there's a way that we can better serve you, whether it be, you sit at home and do what you need done, saving gas, saving time, coming to Roane County, we want to offer that to you. So just finding out more ways to better serve you, and I think expanding online capabilities is one of those.
Next question. What changes would you make to improve service and convenience to the taxpayers in the county clerk's office?
Like I just mentioned, I believe we should expand our online capabilities, cross-train our staff so that no one gets turned away, and I also think we should examine the availability of the office. I know we're open late one day a week. We also have satellite offices in different cities. I agree with those. I think they work. Working for the city of Rockwood on Wednesdays, I see a lot of people come in to get their car tags. I think we should examine that and see if we can better that. So I think it works, and I think we should make that better.
We do have online services for our renewals. There's not a whole lot else that can be done online. Maybe the marriage certificates, which we are looking into putting that online because so many people want us to mail them out and they get kind of destroyed in the mailing. So we are going to try to make it available, especially for our out-of-state people who need a copy. They'll be able to print it off on their computers. Keeping the equipment updated. We get our equipment basically all at the same time. I'm wanting to start changing out like maybe 2 stations at a time so that we can keep the computers updated and not have to spend a lot of money all at one time. We can spend a little bit here and there and keep everybody upgraded as we go. The office basically is in good shape. We just need to tweak some things, and that's what I'm going to try to do. Thank you.
Next question. If elected, do you intend to make any changes in staffing at the county clerk's office? You go first.
I have no reason to. The girls are trained. Nobody realizes how long it takes to get somebody trained to do that, to learn the guidelines that you have from the state. And our girls are trained well. As long as they want to be there, be courteous to the customers, have a smile on their face, and loyal to that office, I have no reason to get rid of anyone.
The staff in the current clerk's office does a good job serving the people of Roane County, and if elected, I would love to see them all not work for me, but work with me in that office as we strive to make it a better place for you, the taxpayer.
I think it's about time for the 90-second closing statement from each of our candidates. Since Chase Clem, you went first before, I'm going to let Beth Gage Johnson to give us her closing 90-second remarks.
Okay, like I said, I've been there for 35 years, worked under 2 clerks. Have always, my dad told me one time, especially after I got on my own, he said, baby, you're going to have to work the rest of your life. You better find something you like to do. And thank God this job came to me because I do like it. I like working with the public. Like I said, it's a good job. You get to meet new people. You get to see your old friends. You get to help people that are in a bind with some paperwork and don't know where to go with it. I've worked from the front to the back of that office. I started out the front window, typing a report, waiting on the window and filing. And Miss Marshall said, you know, you really like this, don't you? And I said, yes, I do. So I've kind of become the expert at the motor vehicle part of it and work well with the dealers, and our staff works well together. I'm a certified public administrator now, and I'm just asking, not for a position, I'm asking for my job, please. Thank you.
I believe that I'm the most qualified candidate for this job because I believe that I have the right experience that's necessary for this job. I have managing experience, budgeting experience, and organizational experience. We're a very heavily community-driven department where I currently work at, and that is what I want to bring into the clerk's office. I want to be community-driven. I want to be the customer first, the taxpayer first, and I want to do everything possible to better serve you, to make your life more efficient. Like I said, we expand our online services, we cross-train our employees, all the while making your experience with our clerk's office better. I believe also that I'm the long-term candidate for Roane County Clerk. I'll humbly ask for your vote, and I appreciate you all coming here tonight. Thank you.
With the two candidates for Register of Deeds start making their way to the front, Sharon Brackett and Mike Elmore. In alphabetical order, you have 2 minutes, each one of you. The first will be Sharon Brackett for a 2-minute opening statement to begin our forum.
I'd like to thank the Women League of Voters for having us here. As he said, I am Sharon Brackett. I'm a lifelong resident of Roane County. I graduated Roane County High School in 1992. At that point, I went to work in the Register of Deeds office. After working in the Register of Deeds office for 14 years, my current boss decided to retire. At that time, I chose to run for the Register of Deeds office. And I was elected, and I'm now here seeking my 4th term. I bring 26 years of on-hand experience to the office. In 2008, I completed the Certified Public Administrator program. 2011, I graduated Leadership Roane County. 2013, I graduated East Tennessee Regional Leadership. I'm a member of the County Officials Association of Tennessee. I'm a member of the Tennessee Registers Association, also the East Tennessee Registers Association, where in 2016-17, I was honored to be named Register of the Year. I'm a member of the Roane County Chamber of Commerce, the Roane County Alumni Leadership Association, the Roane County Women's Executive Association, where I just fulfilled my term as president last month. And I'm here to ask for your vote. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Elmore, 2-minute opening statement.
Mike Elmore, lifetime resident of Roane County. I graduated Roane County High School in 1997. I then went on to Roane State Community College. I graduated there in 2000 and 2004. I'm a trainer. I was a trainer and administrative assistant at Roane State Community College basketball team with the guys, and I've been here for 19 years. And I basically do whatever the athletic director does not have time to do. Out of everything that he just don't have time to do. In 2005, he got thrown out of a basketball game, and I got to coach the rest of the game. Like 15 minutes left, we were down by 4, and we beat them by 9. It was against one of our conference teams at Cleveland State. I'm not a career-long politician. I'm just a regular working guy, works hard every day, and I just give 100%, and I'll be there, and I promise I will show up to work.
For our first question, you go first, Mike Elborn, because Sharon Brackett, in alphabetical order, went first, so you're going to go first. The question is, what kind of experience can you bring to the office of the Register of Deeds?
I can bring leadership. We'll be there to work every time the door is open to the courthouse. I'll be there from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., even though the courthouse don't open till 8:30. I'll make sure my office help is there and ready to work when the courthouse opens. And I'll make sure they stay late to make sure all the paperwork is finalized before the day is over. And this was a very hard worker.
Same question, Ms. Brackett.
Well, like I said, I've had 26 years on-hand experience. I worked as an employee for 14 years, and then I've been your current register for the last 12 years. I've trained all of my employees. I have 3 full-time employees. I have 2 part-time employees. I manage a budget of over $340,000. Last fiscal year alone, my office brought in $1.3 million. My office is a fee office, so I'm very familiar with all the TCA codes and everything that is required to record your property and take care of the office like it has been the last 26 years. Thank you.
The next question. You've heard it before. I am undecided. Why should I vote for you? Sharon Brackett, you go first.
Like I said, I have 26 years experience. And I don't know how much you realize how important the Register of Deeds office is. It's a very important office. Most of everybody works all their life to buy a piece of property and pay it off. And part of that is you've got to make sure it's recorded properly. You've got to make sure it's preserved properly. Is that something you want to run into? Is your deed being lost? Is it being recorded properly? Is it being taken care of? Air records go back to 1801. You know, not only my job is recording, but it's preservation. We have some very important records in our office. We have records where 7th president owned property and sold property. Thank you.
Okay. The records in the Register of Deeds office is everything is public record, all but military discharge and the title search. And then I went into the Register of Deeds office one morning about 8:30, and I checked on my own property where I live at. And there in the Register of Deeds office, it has my dad's name and my mom's name on the property. But I go to the county clerk's office, and it has my dad's name and my sister's name on the same property in the records. So I know why the records on the computer system at the Register of Deeds office is different from the county clerk's office. I just don't know why.
Next question, this is one from the audience. And Mr. Elmore, you'll answer this one first. Would you follow the example of Anderson County and other counties around the state in allowing direct electronic access to deeds?
Yes, I will follow the Anderson County in electronics of deeds. Because right now the computer system, the deeds are not scanned into the computer system. So if they had a scanner in the computer system, they can scan the deeds, and the deeds will be right there on the computer system and be up to date and be current. Right now, in the office, I don't think there is a scanner for the deeds or scanner for anything in the office. So I think the computer system just needs to be more up to date. But I think Anderson County, Loudoun County, McMinn County, they're all more up to date. The systems are more up to date. They're more current. I went in there and visited myself. And anything I had them to look up, they looked up for me and I gave me the right answer in 2 minutes.
First of all, the Anderson County Register of Deeds, we are on the same system. Our vendor is Business Information Systems, and our records are not online for public access for the mere reason a lot of those records have Social Security numbers on those. And I, for one, would not want my Social Security number out there for everybody to see. Now, if you are a title searcher, if you're an attorney, you can subscribe to titlesearcher.com. It's a subscription service, and they monitor who is actually accessing these records. And Anderson County Registrar's Office, you know, they're under, the taxpayers pay to have that online. And I'm not having the Roane County taxpayers to pay to put their Social Security numbers online. And I would like to reiterate, we are actually scanning documents in our office. We are online now. I mean, everything is computerized. And we scan the documents, we scan plats, and my time's up. Thank you.
Still have 15 seconds.
I'll get it next time.
Next question. Do you have specific ideas to improve efficiency in the Register of Deeds office? Yes, Ms. Brackett, you go first with this question.
Actually, I think my office runs great. I have great employees. There's always room for some improvement, but if I see that there needs to be an improvement, I put that in place. I think I think the office runs very smoothly. And I'd like to go back on before where Mr. Elmore commented that he went to the county clerk's office on the property. The county clerk's office does not have anything to do with property. It's the Register of Deeds office that deals with property. Thank you.
Mr. Elmore, same question. Do you have any specific ideas to improve the efficiency in the Register of Deeds office?
Yes. I think the workers in the office do a very fine job. And I think the efficiency is okay, the computer system's okay, but they need better leadership in the office. They need somebody there every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to help answer their questions if they need help. And I did an audit myself, and Sharon here showed up to work 4 times out of 30 days. And that is real bad on my records. And I think they just need better leadership in that office, somebody there every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And do not show up later than 10 o'clock every morning. So they just need better leadership and better guidance.
Next question. And Mr. Elmore, you answer this one first. You're talking about, alluded to, what kind of changes would you make to improve the service and convenience to the taxpayers of Roane County in the Register of Deeds office?
What changes I'll make is the computer system. We need to give more public records to the citizens of Roane County. That right now, everything should be open in public records, all but military discharge and a title search. But everything else is public records. Like if you want to go and check on a lien on your property, the computer system should show if you got a lien on that property or not. And it should show the mortgage on it. And it should show how much is owed on that property and how much is not owed on that property.
Ms. Brackett, same question.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, the question was, what changes would you make to improve the service and convenience to the taxpayers of Roane County and the Register of Deeds office?
First of all, my office runs efficiently. I'm sure there can be a few changes, and if that time comes, I will make those. As far as everything being public record, everything is public record, exception for military discharges. Title searches are performed by an attorney that is practicing law. We do not perform title searches. When you do perform a title search, that is to find out if there's any liens on the property. You just can't go to the computer and pull it up to see if there's any liens on one certain piece of property. That requires a title search. And when you look at these documents, it is not going to show how much you owe and how much you do not owe. It is not going to show your balance. So, but I think my office runs very efficiently. Thank you.
I think at this time, we have used up our time allotment for the Register of Deeds candidates, and at this time, I'm going to give each one of you 90 seconds for closing remarks to conclude this segment of our forum this evening. And Ms. Brackett, you went first with your opening statement, and Mr. Elmore, you go first with the closing statement.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank the woman voters, League of Women Voters of Oak Ridge for having us here tonight. And I appreciate your vote in this election, because I think we need someone here who will be at work every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the courthouse and do not take no vacation times, and we'll give you 100% in that office. We'll not be on a committee, and we'll just be there for you. I expect, my parents expect me to be at work every single day. And if I wasn't at work, my parents would whoop my butt, because my dad would stayed at his job currently for 50 years. And he's always believed in work, and he said, you should show up to work. If not, you're not worth to be there. And I don't think you're happy there if you can't be there every day.
I would like to ask each and every one of you for your vote and support. Like I said, I've been in that office for 26 years. And as far as not showing up to work, we actually, internal controls, put in a procedure where we document each day what each person does in the office. We initial off on it. You're welcome to come in and look through that book to see how many days I've been there, and I have not. I would just appreciate your vote, and I humbly ask you for that. Thank you.
Now we have next the final candidates that are going to be on the program this evening at this forum. We have 5 County Commission District 4 candidates, which makes up Oak Hills, the Roane County portion of Oak Ridge, and also across the hill, Mahoney Road is down in Olive Springs, the north part. I guess it'd be the northeast part of Roane County. We have 5 candidates here tonight. We have Charlotte Bowers. If you just go ahead and make your way up here to the front, take a seat. We got Charlotte Bowers, Thaxton T.H. Brown Jr., James W. Brunnett, Corey Jenkins, and Jerry W. White. And these candidates will be voting for 2. 2 of these 5 candidates are going to be representing District 4 of Roane County for the next 4 years after starting in September. I think it's September the 1st. Is that when they get sworn in? September 1st. But
This is not
in alphabetical order, we are going to start down at the end with a 2-minute opening statement. Each one of you have 2 minutes for an opening statement. And first candidate is Charlotte Bowers. Charlotte.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. We greatly appreciate this opportunity. Thank you, League of Women Voters, for having us here tonight. I've lived in the Roane County part of Oak Ridge now for almost 43 years. My family moved here. My dad was a minister at First Baptist Church, so I'm the preacher's daughter. I graduated from Oak Ridge High School and came back here and raised all 4 of my children here. All 4 of my children have graduated from this high school, so people were asking me where things were and how funny these seats were. Well, I've sat in them many times. So, I love this town. I love being here. I moved away a couple of times, but always came back. I'm a member of the Oak Ridge Breakfast Rotary Club and the Altrusa Club of Oak Ridge and Oak Ridge Ministerial Association. And I'm a member of different organizations because I have a lot of friends in those organizations, and I enjoy being there. And I just like to be out in the community as part of my job, which is the executive director of Habitat for Humanity of Oak Ridge. Well, actually of Anderson County, but located here in Oak Ridge. I've been there for 8 years, been managing that office and working through a lot of different things. We've expanded our services during that time. We just finished a house up on West Outer and finished another house on West Maiden Lane. It's been a wonderful opportunity, but I think that that has really prepared me for public service in other areas, such as county commission, because I've had to work with, obviously, low-income families. They're the ones who are buying our houses, as well as the wealthy donors. Conservatives, liberals, a little bit of everything. So I think that has put me in a unique position to serve the public at large. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Mr. Thaxton T.H. Brown Jr.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Oak Ridge League of Women Voters for inviting me here. Thank the people for coming out. I'm a little bit hoarse. I ask your apologies for that. Why should I run for this office? Well, first of all, I've been representing Oak Ridge in Oliver Springs for the past 15 years. In the Roane County Tax Appeals Board office. 15 years ago to this year, Teresa Kirkham told me, she said, I need to talk to you. And that was at Terry's funeral. And I just realized that it's been 15 years since I've been in there. The board has done some good work. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I graduated from Oliver Springs High School. I served as Little League Director in Oliver Springs Little League for 14 years. I went to Knoxville Business College. I worked for National Cash Register for 10 years. I retired from the plant with 30 years of service. I worked on the last nuclear power plant that was built in the United States in Texas and Augusta, Georgia. I'm not a public speaker. I can talk one-on-one all day long. I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Next, we have James W. Brummett for a 2-minute opening statement. Oh, he's not here. Okay. Mr. Brummett's not here. Corey Jenkins then.
Kind of second what everybody else has said. Thank you for this opportunity. Again, my name's Corey Jenkins. I live at Southwood Subdivision here at Oak Ridge. One thing I tell people, first of all, I am a Christian. I'm not ashamed to tell people that. And whatever your belief, I encourage you to do the same. I am married. My wife is Heather. She works or is the assistant principal at Linden Elementary here at Oak Ridge. She's worked there over 15 years. Have 2 sons, Camden and Kaysen. Camden is Oak Ridge High School, and Kaysen is starting Robertsville Middle School. Education-wise, I graduated from Harriman in 1995, a degree from Roane State, and a degree from Tennessee Tech, bachelor's in organizational development and business management. Work-wise, I'm the general manager at Cumberland Utility District. I've been there over 20 years. I have experience in, again, organizational management, budget, finance, debt service administration, public utility management, public communication, customer service, asset management, maintenance on critical assets, working with state and federal agencies, funding-wise, stuff like that. Skill-wise, I try to live my personal and professional lives based off of servant leadership. One that has the willingness to learn, listen to others, communicates well with others, values diversity, one that makes ethical, educated decisions, and committed to the growth of others. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Jerry White.
I want to say thank you for inviting us here tonight. I also want to thank Miss Renee Kelly. She invited us to her home for an outing, and I appreciate that. I met several of you folks there. I've knocked on your door again for the second time, and you flashed your card in my face and said I met you at Miss Kelly's house. But I appreciate her, appreciate the League of Women Voters for inviting us here tonight. I want to start off by saying I'm not the Jerry White from Anderson County. So all the political signs that you see in Clinton and Oak Ridge and down into Oliver Springs that says re-elect Jerry White, his name is Jerry White. He has the same middle name that I do, and we were born the same year. But I'm the Roane County Jerry White that's running for commissioner of District 4. I began my career, I guess, in college and high school, and I worked in the strip shopping center down here in Oak Ridge for Homer Kramer at Kramer Shoes, and I bumped into a few of you folks out there in the hall earlier this evening, and I remembered your faces from being there. I was fortunate enough, I was in the military. I joined the military in 1971, and I received an honorable discharge in 1977 with a Sergeant E5 as a recruiting officer. I was a chemical operator for West Coal Company, processing coal for the nuclear plants. And while I was there, I received my Q clearance, went to Y-12 as a security police officer for 25 years, on to K-25 for 7 more years, working for USEC at the Centrifuge Project, and now I'm currently with the Roane County government working for Jack Stockton Security on the second floor of the courthouse in Criminal Court and General Sessions Court. I want to thank you again for coming, and I want your vote. I want to be the voice of you, the good folks. Take your opinions and anything that I can help you with to Roane County government of District 4. Thank you.
First question, we're going to start in reverse alphabetical order. So, Mr. White, you get the first question.
Yes, sir.
You get to answer first. This is a real simple question. Why do you want to be a county commissioner?
I just told you, I want to be the voice of the good people of the 4th District. I want to carry your concerns and your needs to Roane County. I'm sorry. Sorry, Brad. I want to be the voice that carries you. I want to meet with each and every one of you. I want to find out your concerns. I have enjoyed campaigning so much, knocking on your doors. Many of you folks, I recognize that I've knocked on your doors. You've been so kind to me. But I want to carry your concerns to Roane County, to make Roane County a better place for Oak Ridge and Oliver Springs.
Next, Corey Jenkins.
I've always had an interest in local, state, and federal government, and like a lot of my decisions, it's based off of timing. With the unfortunate passing of Steve Kelly in February, commissioner that lived here in Oak Ridge, a huge voice was lost. And after first getting the blessings of the Kelly family, I kind of decided now was the right time. Kind of in a unique situation where I've got a vested interest in both Oliver Springs and Oak Ridge. One being my home, Oak Ridge, and then my customer base in Oliver Springs. Now, I talked 2 weeks ago in Oliver Springs, and I asked Jerry to put me a shield up when I mentioned I was a manager coming to utility, you know, in case something got through at me there. So, but something I've always been interested in, and you know, timing's right. Thanks.
Question is, why do you want to be a county commissioner?
I don't know. I spent 15 years as tax appeals board, and now I'm the chairman. I've worked hard trying to equalize the taxes for the homeowner. I've got some ideas. I got one idea, and it's not an idea, it's public, but it's not being advertised. I want it to be fair for everybody, especially the kids. I'm concerned. And to answer that question real solemnly and slowly, I care about the county. I've lived here all my life. Thank you.
Well, not to be outdone, Jerry stands up, so I'm going to stand up too. I want to be a commissioner because I have a vested interest in low-income families. I've been working with the families at Habitat for Humanity now for several years. And I'll be honest, I haven't always been as nice as I am now. I've learned a lot working with these people. I really have. It's hard to understand the lifestyle that we're not accustomed to. You know, we're so middle class. We just don't think about it. And when you work with families who don't have the experience or the opportunities, and of course not the money that we have, it just hits home. When you sit down with these people and you work with their budgets and you realize that what seems so simple to us is just not that simple. And one of the biggest things that stood out to me recently is the conversation about the wheel tax. $50, big deal, right? Big deal. But when you are living on $250 a week, that's a big deal. That's a very big deal. $50 is a budget buster for these people. Property owners, we pay these Roane County property taxes, and I've heard several people say that we're some of the highest. I'm not really sure where they're getting their information. We're right in the middle, just right dead set in the middle. So not that we really want to have higher taxes, but a little bit higher, it's not going to put us out of some crazy range. So we'll just have to see how things pan out, but at least property taxes are equitable. Thank you.
Next question, and we'll start at the other end of the table, with Charlotte Bowers going first. But if you are elected a county commissioner, there's gonna be a lot of things that you're gonna have to make decisions on. Being one of, what is there, 16? 15 in Roane County. But what would be your highest priority, job priority, if you get elected for the 4th district of Roane County? What would be the thing that you would be most concerned with trying to get something done?
Well, the biggest concerns right now are obviously the school consolidation. I guess really just what affects the county as a whole. Oak Ridge is we're kind of out of the way of these things. Our children don't go to their schools. Our taxes are affected though. So I really want to look out for what it is that affects us, and which does include Oliver Springs. There's not as much that affects us as does a lot of the people in Roane County, but when you're talking about a conglomeration of all the taxes, it does affect us. So I want to hear what your thoughts are on those things, and I want to be your voice to share with the rest of the commission how we feel about things as a whole. Thank you.
Mr. Brown, same question.
And that is?
What would be your highest job priority if you get elected?
My top priority is children, and it'd be the schools, the school system. You don't have industry in here because the engineers will not allow their kids to come in to a school system like this. This is what I've heard now. This is strictly gossip. If you don't have the education or system for these kids, you're not going to get the training. You're not going to get the people in here for big businesses. There is one thing that I'm going to bring out now that I think I might be out of bounds, but there's one job that the trustee needs to be aware of, and that is freezing taxes. That $50 that Ms. Bowers was talking about, people can freeze their taxes. It started out at $20-some thousand total income. Now it's up to 30-some thousand total income. They can freeze their taxes at that, and they won't be raised until they sell the house or give it away or they pass on. But it needs to be looked at, and that's one of the main priorities is the school system and industry in Roane County that I would put forward an effort.
Kind of follow up to what you just said. The school plan that they are proposing, I'm kind of leaving right now because my kids are in Oak Ridge schools. And I know what a strongly supported school system that supports every kid can do for a community. For example, look at the growth in Hardin Valley. New school system, exponential growth there. Roane County will not see the industrial growth until these schools are updated. That is school curriculum, the STEM. My kids started in the STEM curriculum at elementary school. They started in middle school with robotics, engineering classes, stuff like that. That's real world training that's needed. The schools do need updating. And I know from experience, from interviewing people, I can tell when somebody's been through a quality school system like Oak Ridge, Maryville, versus a Roane County or Morgan County. I mean, it's sad to say. But it is what it is. There is a direct correlation between school system and bringing industry in.
There's been several people spoke tonight on the school and the overcrowding in our jail. But I tell you what's near and dear to my heart, and that's some drug education, some counseling, and some rehab. I work first-handed in the courtroom, in the criminal courtroom, in the circuit courtroom every day. And I see those folks, and there is overcrowding in our jail. But folks, those people need some help. They need some counseling. They need some rehab. They need some education. And it goes all the way back to elementary school. The education needs to begin there because the drug problem is real. It's real in Anderson County. It's real in Morgan County as well as Roane County. And I think that would be one of my top priorities is to educate and find folks some help, some rehab to their drug addiction.
Since you brought it up, Mr. White, we'll just start with you with this question.
Yes, sir.
What ideas do you have about what can be done about the jail overcrowding and its expected skyrocketing cost?
My father stopped the newspaper man when I was 10 years old, and he helped me get my first job at 10 years old. I don't think there's anything, and I think it would alleviate some of the problem in the Roane County Jail right now if there was more of a workforce and people were put out to work 8 hours a day instead of being in an air-conditioned building where there's a color TV playing all day long. That would solve some of the problem. But right now, this Monday when we went to court, I asked the officers that brought the inmates over, I said, I'd like to know what the numbers are today. He said, today I have 306 in a 150-man bed facility. Roane County does need a new jail.
Same question, Mr. Jenkins. Any ideas what we done about the jail overcrowding and expected skyrocketing cost?
No doubt there is a jail overcrowding issue in Roane County. That's been going on for years. The proposed plan for building a new jail, I believe, is around $5 or $6 million. Talking with the county executive, that is very doable within current year and the next 2 or 3 years' budgets. As far as nonviolent, criminal offenses, I would be in favor of increased ankle monitoring. I believe the cost of that's about $10 a day versus housing an inmate at $40. So I would be in favor of the kind of increased ankle monitoring program.
It is true that the state does reimburse the counties for housing these criminals, these lawbreakers. That needs to be addressed. We do make money on it, and it helps pay off debts. But does it put us in a bind to where we're breaking the law by overcrowding us in our system? When I was growing up, and I am a little bit older than anybody on this board, but they called it a certain thing, and it was called a chain gang. You put these people out working where I was going on with what Corey said about them staying in air conditioning and watching TV all day long. You put them out there on the road where people can see them and in those yellow suits to where that they have broken the law, and let them stand up and be counted for. That was my thoughts and mine alone. Thank you.
Well, I don't know that I have a whole lot to add to all of that. I agree that the ankle bracelet system, chain gangs, those kinds of things, those are great ideas. My biggest concern right now, though, with the jails is I did hear at the commission meeting the other night that there are just beds for 40 women and 100 women in there. That's a concern. So, yes, we probably do need to expand it somewhat, but I think that there's a lot of good ideas out there. And I totally agree with housing these criminals just for the money. I don't think that that's necessary, especially if we're going to spend so much more money to build a bigger jail. So, thank you.
Next question. If you get elected, you're going to be one of 15 people, the ones of you that get elected, going to be 2 that will be commissioners from the 4th district. Be one of 15 people And it's gonna be something that at some point, probably going to have to decide on what you're gonna do. And I've heard positions pro and con, but what is your position regarding the new consolidated high school that's being discussed in Roane County? And we'll start, Ms. Bowers, we'll start with you.
Right now, I think that the proposed plan is quite pricey. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think there are other ways to accomplish some of the same goals that they're trying to accomplish at a lower price tag. That's my opinion at this point in time. That could change over time, but with the proposed taxes that they're talking about, that's just a lot of money to put into something that really could probably be settled for less money. You know, there have been many other ideas thrown out there that I don't know that have been explored quite as well. Multiple campuses, the use of some of the buildings that they have now. People talking about they're already sending their child an hour on a bus to school, and that's going to increase if there's just that one for those 3 cities. Right now, with the proposed plan as it is, I would have to vote no.
Mr. Brown.
It's a hard decision, but what kind of decision is there to make? I stood in my front door when I was around 4 or 5 years old and watched the schoolhouse burn in Oliver Springs. That school is over 50 years old. Also, the one in Rockwood is pushing over 50 years old. What kind of a price tag do you put on to educate our children? On an average of $250,000 house, the taxes would be raised for an average family or an average house, somewhere around $200. Now, if you take senior citizens and freeze their wages, let them freeze their taxes, and they can't raise them no more, you take them out of the equation. So put yourself in that decision, that place, and just think, is that too much? What is too much for an education for our kids? Thank you.
Roane County is being backed into a corner for something that should have been done 15 or 20 years ago. And that's improving the school system. Again, I know from experience what a quality community-supported system can do for a child. I do have 3 questions about the proposed plan. That's kind of the logistics of the combined high school, Rockwood, Kingston, Harriman. The effects on the debt service for the county. And then a surplus property plan. You know, what are they going to do with the schools that they close? The buildings, equipment like that. You have no choice if you want to bring industry into the county, but to support the schools. Direct correlation there. Again, you're being backed into a corner where you have no choice but to vote in favor of a school system if you want to bring industry into the county.
If the election was denied and I was elected for this position, I would have to vote no for the consolidated school because of the funding, the tax increase, the wheel tax, whatever the money's allotted for. I'm against that consolidated school. My wife, sitting on the 5th row back there, and myself, we graduated from Oliver Springs High School. I have 3 children that graduated from Oliver Springs High School. Right now, I have 8 grandchildren that are coming up that are scattered across Roane County. The majority of them are in Oliver Springs. I'm proud of the town I live in, and I don't want to lose our community school. And it's because of the funding and the money that I would vote no against the consolidated school.
We're coming up on half an hour, maybe a question or 2, and then let's stop.
Okay, our next question. This one is I wasn't aware of what's coming down the pike, but somebody has a question for you county commissioners. Roane County's best natural resources are waters. What are your plans about invasive species, especially the silver carp that appears to be on its way? Mr. Brown, I mean, Mr. White. Mr. White, excuse me.
The Roane County, Mr. White. The Roane County, Mr. White.
Roane County, Mr. White.
Listen, if you live in Roane County, everybody fishes. I say take care of what we've got. We have beautiful lakes, beautiful waterways. Roane County's a beautiful place to live. The Oak Ridge side is just as beautiful. But there's a lot of fishermen in Roane County. I say take care of what we've got.
I think this is a question, maybe for somebody more qualified, maybe TWRA, what their plans are, seeing what, other states are doing, counties are doing. I am aware of the carp issue. That is the flying carp that you see on TV. But maybe somebody else more qualified could answer that question.
The only thing that I know about the carp situation is if you catch one and you catch a bass fisherman out there fishing and he sort of snoozes off a little bit, you tie it onto his boat and let him take it into the dock. There is a recipe for cooking carp, bacon or whatever. You get you a pine board. You fillet that sucker. You put all the trimmings on that fish. You put it in the oven at 450 degrees for 30 minutes. You take it out, throw the fish away, and eat the board.
Well, this has turned into quite the comical question. I agree that I don't know enough about it really to speak, but I did used to work at the China Palace when it was out by the lake, and they used to catch the carp, and they would throw them live into the fryer, and when it would come out, it was bent like that, and they had this really hot orange sauce that they would put on there, so that's just another recipe for you.
Just let the carp come on. Do you think the DOE contributes their fair share to both Roane County and Anderson County? Do you think DOE contributes their fair share in tax revenues for what they do in both counties? Ms. Bowers, you start first.
Okay, DOE specifically?
DOE, do you think DOE, Department of Energy, contributes their fair share as far as tax revenue for the counties and municipalities of both Roane and Anderson, especially Roane?
No, I'd have to say not really, honestly. I think that some of the tax that were cut back on a while back, they should probably put more into it than they have been for a while. There's a lot of money out there, and they contribute to a lot of things. I think that they could actually put a little bit more into it. Obviously, we need a little bit more money in Roane County. We're constantly trying to put that burden on individuals, so I think the burden could be shared a little bit more, not so much with the individuals.
Mr. Brown?
I think they need to contribute more because how long have they been here? I don't like to, or Oak Ridgers don't like for me to say this, but when I worked for National Cash Register, I used to have fun with those little cashiers. Because did you all know that Oak Ridge is a suburb of Oliver Springs? Listen, that's the truth. Everything that it took to build Oak Ridge came through Oliver Springs. So does that not make Oak Ridge a suburb of Oliver Springs? No, I don't think they still pay their fair share, because I think in the contract when they built K-31 and K-33, the deal was when they get through with it, it goes back to grass. I drove by there a little while ago, and guess what? It's going to grass. They took the concrete up, but the areas, they did more damage around than what is publicized. But they need to fork out some more money. Thank you.
I do agree that they could give more. Deep pockets could always give more. But dealing with the federal government's a tricky issue. Based off of the number of workers that they employ, and the amount of revenue that they bring in for the county, no doubt the money's there. So short answer, yes, they could give more.
No, I don't think they contribute enough tax money to Roane County. If you attend any of the county commissioners' meetings in Roane County, you'll find out that Mr. Woody and his office are always giving a report of how much more tax money we need to receive from DOE.
We're not finished yet, we're not finished yet. Rules are no clapping until they all have finished. But it's getting a little bit late. I think you have had an opportunity to hear each one of these candidates, and as you form your opinion over the next 2.5 weeks till election day, we just I want to say thank you to all of you candidates who have placed yourself on the ballot and are making the sacrifices of yourself and your families to be a public servant and to be willing to serve the residents, the citizens of Roane County. But at this time, I'm going to give each one of our 4 potential Roane County Commissioner candidates. I'm going to start in reverse order. Mr. White, you have 90 seconds, which is a minute and a half for final.
Let's get this straight. I am the Jerry White from Roane County. A lot of people have asked me, what does a commissioner do, or what do you think of a commissioner? Mr. Steve Kelly was the perfect example. His heart and his soul was all about Roane County, and he gave 110%. When he came to the meeting, he had researched all of his paperwork, and he knew what was on the agenda. That's the person I want to be. Anytime that I had any event in Oliver Springs, meetings, school meetings, historical society meeting, I called Mr. Kelly, and his wife showed up because they were concerned about the entire 4th District, and I appreciate that. So that's who I want to be like. I want to be your voice for the Roane County Commissioner of the 4th District. Again, let me say thank you for allowing us to be here tonight, and I want your vote as County Commissioner.
Again, thank you for opportunity of being here. Business has changed over the past 10, drastically over 20 to 30 years. Organizations are having to increase their operational efficiency, the way they run, because of limited resources and finances. Local governments are no different. Based off of my management experience in dealing with those issues and education, lessons learned, I feel that justifies my qualifications for, running for county commission. Adding to what Mr. Wright said, Steve Kelly was in it for the right reasons. I hope to be like that as well. Huge voice was lost there. And again, I got the blessings from the Kelly family first. before running. Thank you for the opportunity, and I would appreciate your vote. Thanks.
Again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters in Oak Ridge for asking us here tonight. I would also like to express my love and my thanks to my wife, our 4 kids, and our 9 grandkids. 2 of them were in the Oak Ridger this week, their pictures of going through the K-14. They're both enrolled at UT. The system will work if we let it. If I'm elected to this position, I want to be your voice, but when I was a deacon in First Baptist Church in Oliver Springs, I had 5 people I could go to on certain problems, certain questions that I could ask their advice. And I also want that same thing if I'm elected in different areas of District 4 or any other question or answer that someone may give me some advice. Thank you very much. And I am a Christian too, and I love the Lord. Thank you very much, and you all have a safe journey home.
Well, as the last person to speak tonight, thank you all again so much for coming out. We appreciate you. And we've all said pretty much the same thing. We want to be your voice. I know a lot of you personally. I've lived here a long time. I know probably half the people in this room by name. And when I go door to door, I'm surprised I didn't even know where a lot of these people lived. I go up and they answer the door, and I'm like, oh, how are you doing? So it's been a very interesting 43 years living here, and I've loved every minute of it. And if you saw one of my green cards, I love the people here. I love the area. I'd be my honor to represent you. Be my honor. So as a lot of people have also said, I'm humbly asking for your vote. Thank you so much for having us tonight.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. This honorable meeting of the Roane County Commissioners is now in session. The Honorable Chairman Ron Berry presiding. God bless you, United States, the great state of Tennessee, in this honorable meeting. This time, will you join me in the pledge to our American flag and remain standing? We'll have a word of prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to